Hey everyone. Got a quick video inspired by one of y'all who, had tagged me in on a thread on social media. I'm very sorry that sometimes I don't catch your comments and posts. And I always do, the social media doozle in the corner here because I'm a bullshit YouTuber, but I'm still a YouTuber. There's a lot of times I just don't see DMs on Instagram and Reddit and things like that. I can't keep up with everything, but I do keep up with Mastodon and Bluesky. This was on one of those two services. Someone basically was like, "Hey, you talk a lot about luggage and packages and shipping and tracking, and you run businesses that ship and stuff." And it was a question about a lost shipment, a very expensive shipment. I think it wasn't from a company. If I recall, it was they were shipping themselves a piece of gear that they were needing for a conference or for work. And they said, "Hey, what options do you pursue when you lose something like this?" And unfortunately, I dug into the thread and I read it and I was like, "Oh, well, this was shipped via regular mail, the U.S. Post." Little pro tip from me to you. You might not, I'm not trying to look down on this person, by the way, but some of you might not know this. The mail, the government run mail, which is not exactly government run, it's we're not going to talk about the politics of the mail. The US Postal Service gets all my support and love, and they do a very important job. Much like a city bus, the job is not to be the fastest and best at anything, it's to make sure everyone has an opportunity for service. The US Postal System's job is to get everywhere if possible. Yes, they're often cheap, but it also means their tracking is not as robust, especially when you get to other countries. And that's what I told the people. I was like, "Oh, this was a really expensive piece of kit you were sending. Why did you send it in the mail?" like, and they're like, "Well, that's how you mail things." And I was like, you know other carriers exist, UPS and FedEx are the ones we think of in America. DHL is huge overseas as well, but I mean, we can have DHL in America as well. And yeah, so just to, I don't know if some people don't do the calculus sometimes, and I realize money's tight for everybody, right? But the postal system, when it leaves America, there's a whole bunch of weird clearances and so forth with, getting through customs, and then it gets handed off to other countries' mail carriers. And those systems may, in some rough way, support a little bit of tracking. Like if you paid for tracked mail in America, you might get a little bit of tracking overseas. But a lot of times, it's literally like sending a ping to somebody else's network. Like once it hits the freaking edge router or the firewall or something, you don't have visibility into what's going on inside on their LAN. And the same thing with your package. Once it gets overseas, a lot of times it hands off to, the Dutch Postal Service or the Russian Postal Service or the South Korean Postal Service. You don't have visibility into that anymore. It's why for really expensive stuff, we always ship UPS or FedEx. Even domestically, we often do that. And I wanted to talk about that. Again, I realize that shipping can cost money, like everything costs money in this world, but the Postal Service versus UPS or FedEx, if you're just browsing pricing, you might be like, "Whoa, okay, boy, that's a big jump right there. That's a big difference in price." Yeah, it is. Which, by the way, you don't pay rack rate if you can avoid it for something like UPS or FedEx. There's a million shipping services now. Pirate Ship is one that a lot of small businesses I know use. Speed Ship. There's a bunch of them. The way these companies work is if you have an account with them, they sort of pre-buy a lot of shipping time, as it were, from the big boys. And they get preferential rates that way. And they hope that you as the customer will just buy enough from them to make that rate worthwhile for them. But you can always do better than the just off the rack rate shipping. Even if you just literally don't want to go to that trouble, get a UPS account. Get a shipper account. You will sometimes just get better rates if you ship enough. That neither here nor there. It is going to be more expensive than the US mail. I'm talking mostly to Americans. So if you're like, "Well, I have this big box of, stuff and it would be $45 to send it in the mail or $200 to send it, via UPS or FedEx." Sure, that's a big difference in price. And for a cheap, if that box of stuff only contains $40 worth of books, okay, send it in the mail. Fine, who gives a damn? But there's kind of a parallel here to my gun storage talk, where I talk to people about how much gun safe is enough gun safe. And there's the principle of the 10% rule. So if you have $10,000 or $20,000 worth of assets, maybe they're guns, maybe they're other stuff, You could put them in a safe that costs $1,000, $2,000. That's considered normal. That's considered fair, and that's just part of how people do the calculus. A big reason that you pay more for important, expensive shipping is not just because you think it'll get there more reliably, but because of the recourse if it doesn't. Tracking is much more robust. So like, again, tracking is just a big thing for all of us. Amazon has spoiled everybody these days, where you just expect everything to get everywhere immediately. But when we have something riding on a package, like, man, this whole job really comes down to whether this whatever thing gets to the customer in time, or this bunch of classroom materials have to get to that venue where we're teaching a class. We want to be making sure tracking looks correct. And we're like, hey, is it getting there? We can kind of order we're like, hey, if that doesn't get there before you leave the office, pack a bunch of those tools and like take them with you. We'll have extra in the class. Like, looks like that package got held up in Cincinnati. So being able to have tracking, but also if something doesn't arrive, how many of you ever try to file a claim with the US Postal Service? It doesn't go very well. Like, you might get some satisfaction, but not in the same way that you can, even for slow and missed deliveries for things like UPS, FedEx, etc. So insurance, all of this works so differently. Even when I send like Cara mail in the prison, right? I will pay for tracking. Not like the mail doesn't work really well inside the prison walls. It might be sitting there for a week or two before she gets it. But I can at least tell her when I'm emailing her on Core Links, I'm like, hey, the package I sent you, or the letter I sent you, the postcard I sent you, I know that it made it to Carswell. Like, I made it there on this date. And then she can go talk to the hacks and the screws and stuff and talk to her counselor and be like, hey, why is this thing not being delivered to me? It's clearly been here for 9 days, 10 days. So the kind of thing that I like to think about, and I encourage you to think about, is what would future you wish you had done? What I mean by this is, let's imagine your shipment has a problem. Always plan for the worst. Most shippers, even the mail system, like most shippers get shit where it's going, right? But plan for the worst. If you're sending like a Pelican case of gear that you need for a presentation or a professional job, or in my case, training or something like that, or if you're ordering tools from the website I don't mention, and you're like, I just want this because it's neat, it'll show up at my office when it shows up. Or if you're ordering it on a job, which we have plenty of customers who are like, hey, I'm in the field right now and I want to get this thing. When will it get here? It looks like US Mail says it'll get here in 3 days. I'm like, you're getting paid how much? And you want this, RFID bypass kit or this like leashy tool or something. You're a professional business. Like, just pay for FedEx, just pay for UPS. Because imagine future you. You're standing there, you're like, man, I was supposed to have this thing on Thursday, and I don't, and now it's getting on Friday, and now it's going to be the weekend's going to hit. In that moment, you could advocate for future you. What would future you be willing to pay to make that problem go away? If you're like, oh man, you're telling me right now this thing I desperately needed, like it's a tuxedo for a wedding I'm in, or again, like my laptop that I need for this presentation, like, you're telling me it's not here? But if I just magically waved a $100 bill, I could just make it be here? Future you would probably take that bet a lot of the time. Now, I realize I'm speaking from a place of privilege. If you ship enough stuff, you can't just spend an extra $100 every couple of weeks. That adds up, right? But if you're doing professional things with professional clients, with professional stakes, and if you fall down on the job because you can't deliver for this thing you were trying to do, think about paying professional prices for a professional service. Not to mention, as I've said, AirTags, Pebblebee trackers, they're like 20 bucks. Nowadays, if you have some mission critical shipment, especially if it's coming from you to you, like you control both ends of that shipping process, there's almost no excuse for not throwing an AirTag or a Pebblebee tracker or something in there, right? Just so, again, you can see where it is going. You can see when it's landed, when it's doing, like we've had packages that have just wound up in a depot somewhere, some distribution depot, whether it's a UPS depot or whether it's the mail room of a hotel. And the AirTags, they have saved our butt. Absolutely. So keep all this in mind. I know this is not a real hacker video, and I know that some of my videos are hit or miss, but it was on my mind because I have a lot of gear going lots of places. I have so much travel. You guys got to be tired of hearing me say that, right? I literally fly tomorrow for a break-in job, and then I speak at B-Sides Raleigh, and then I was going. So we had a death in the hacker community, so I've got to fly back west to handle some things relating to that. Tara and I get that done. Then I've got to fly down to Texas. I've got the Texas Locksmith show down there. I've got, where the hell else? There's somebody else I've got to be. This is all in this month, by the way. This is all in September. Yeah, I think I'm back in Raleigh again before I go. Good God. I gotta look at my calendar. And then, oh yeah, at the end of September, that's right, I've got to go to Vegas because I'll be in Vegas almost all of October. We have the new RTA facility. Like, we have classes. RTA, man, if, like, holy crap, dude. We are running some specials. I don't link the website. I don't mention. I link RTA. We are running some very special pricing for our grand debut of our classes at the new West Coast facility in Vegas. Yeah, come see us. I am literally getting everything dusted, polished, and prepared for anyone who is showing up. So I will see many of you there. I'll see many of you at cons. I'll see many of you online. If I don't see you on every Monday for a video, or if my Monday videos don't look like I'm in my usual spot, it's because I'm on the road. I am just, man, pray for me. I'm not doing well. And if you see me in person, yeah, and you ask me how I am, you might get suddenly a really real answer. Like, how you doing, man? Bad? Yeah, things are pretty bad right now, but a lot of things are bad. But I'm here for you. And a lot of y'all are here for me, and you're very kind. And I'll look for you in the comments. I'll look for you online. I'll look for you in the airports. Keep saying hi whenever you spot me. We will all get through this, and we'll get through it together. You might like my talk from B-Sides Raleigh. I'm going to try to capture it. It'll be online. Maybe that'll be one of the videos I could throw up online. I'll see you guys around. I will see every one of you. Yeah, you mean a lot to me, and I appreciate you. Stay safe out there.